Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Rena and Cynthia Discuss. And I'm Rena.
I'm Cynthia.
And we are the founders of Ascending Community of Light. And Ascending Community of Light is empowering your consciousness, awakening to become your divine self. And Cynthia and I are working on doing that for ourselves. And we invite you to come along with us on our journey so that you can become your divine self as well. So today we have a special conversation we're going to have. And Cynthia, why don't you give us the information of how this came to you as an idea?
Well, thanks, Rena. So yes, it's always interesting from week to week what to talk about. And I was doing a meditation and I heard Spirit say to me, do a video on courage and how courage will help conquer all the fear that's on the planet right now. And I know that you and I had heard Lorie Ladd say, fear is the consciousness that humanity is clearing right now. And I think that's really true, right? So we could certainly look at our world right now, and there's a lot of things to fear.
Well, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of really great stuff going on too. But we definitely are clearing the dark, aren't we?
We are clearing the dark.
Hovering around.
Yeah. So we thought we'd first start by talking about what is fear. And I think most people have heard that old adage that fear is false evidence appearing real. And when I find myself in fear, I always go back to that because it's true, isn't it, Rena?
Yeah, it really is false.
Yeah. And I think most fear starts in the mind. And we imagine this and that. Probably everybody's had that experience of a husband or boyfriend or child leaving the house and they don't come back on time. And you think, oh my goodness, what in the world? Where are they?
What could it be? Right.
What could it be? Oh, they're in a car accident. They're in a ditch or someone hurt them or, so our mind just tends to run away. And I don't know what that is, why human nature is like that, but we do make up a lot of things in our mind, don't you think?
Yes, we do. And then, of course, as we know, when we make things up in our mind, then our emotions, our thoughts create our emotions, and our emotions create our experience. So once we have those thoughts, then all of a sudden we're having emotions related to those thoughts. And then we're living as if that were real, even if it's not.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of movies are based upon, that very concept, right? So you introduce to the audience an idea or, the bad man out there, the boogeyman, and then people start living that emotion of, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And then, you might drop your popcorn in a movie theater, or you might run around and scream, or you might yell in reaction. So yeah, very much thoughts create emotions, and emotions then are what we experience. And of course, the virtual reality world, that's all based on that, right? Everybody living in virtual reality and videos, they act as if it's real, but it's not. So
and
that's
some would say that we really are living in an illusion. I'm going to just throw this out, and that there is this matrix that we're living in, just like the movie The Matrix. So we brought that up in another video before. But think about that. Just that, it doesn't have to be this way, maybe.
Yeah, and then I think there's some scientists that have recently come out and said we absolutely live in a hologram. This is all holodeck, like in Star Trek. We're living in a holodeck simulated hologram, and wow, what a creation that is, huh? But fear, I think, holds us back from achieving our goals. I know it does. It always has for me, and I know it has for others. It cripples us, it paralyzes us. And it keeps us from doing what we really want to be doing. And it is so inhibiting. And there's so many kinds of fear too, right? Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of not being loved. I think that's the biggest fear of all. Fear of being alone, fear of not being cared for, noticed. It goes on and on. I think the list is endless.
Yeah, it really is. And then we have to look at, where do those fears come from? and what are the basis of them, and are they imagined, or is it something like, is someone really coming at your door trying to get in your house right now? Like, that's a reality fear, whereas just imagining that something might happen is an imagined fear, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So that's a good question too, like what we were talking about. Is it really in the mind, or is it something you're experiencing right now?
Yeah, so we have to ask ourselves, what if, and I like the kind of the Byron Katie idea, take it and flip it. So what if it's not real? What if it's not true? What does our life look like if it's not true?
Mm-hmm.
What if it's all a lie?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really exist? So
That's empowering, really
Yeah.
empowering to do that.
Yeah, it's a good technique.
Yeah, and we're all going through, especially right now, like we're making this recording on February 27th, 2022, and our world is just so topsy-turvy, and we're kind of divided into different camps, and so I know just in my own life, and I know you've experienced this too, but just this week even, there's just examples of where our fear comes up. And I had an example of one of my fears come up, and I had a strong reaction to it. So I think this video is really about our fears, acknowledging that our fears are going to come up, and that we need to figure out how we can handle that. And so that'll be where courage comes in when we talk a little bit later.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because I don't think we can live in this three-dimensional world and have all that's going on around us without some kind of fear. There's just too many things to be fearful of. And so fear is here. And so to look at right head on, right? To look at just head on and say, I am empowered, and this fear really doesn't have any power over me. I am in charge of my life. I create my own destiny. I can face this fear, and I can transmute it. I can transform it all the way.
Yeah, right. And I think that too, it's important to really look at what the fear is, where does it come from, and do a little deep dive inside of yourself, because really fear comes from beliefs. And when we have a strong belief about something, then we did that whole video on beliefs, right? So people can go back if you want to and look at that. It's a really powerful video, I think. But we're looking at, if we have a belief that something is harmful, let's say, and this is where my stuff was this week, something is harmful, and then someone I love is being forced to take that harmful substance for whatever reason. And so my fear came up that my loved one was going to be hurt because society or the school or the job or whatever it is insisting that that's going to happen, that they can't live their life unless they do this protocol. So so that's where it's important to look at our belief is, and where does that belief come from? And I think that's what's dividing us as well, is that we have these strong camps of beliefs. This side believes this side believes that. Everybody's got their evidence to support those claims. And then, though, as spiritual beings, we need to have the courage to step back and to look at, what does that mean in our lives? Where does that come from? What is that mirroring to us? And then really start to dive into those and see if we can transform even the beliefs, so that then we can neutralize all of those strong emotions.
That's really true. And I think, so we wanted to offer courage as an antidote to fear. So really, courage is what we all need right now. And I think humanity needs courage in a big way, because our fears are going to keep coming up until we clear them. And I think this is what the ascension is all about, right?
Right.
It is about clearing our fears and being clean of them, being free of them. And truly, once we're free of our fears, there's nothing stopping us. Off we go. We're going to go into higher and higher states of consciousness. And so courage came to mind because it's the antidote to fear, and it's also the stairway to the higher dimensions, I think. Having
Right.
courage.
Yes, because fear is the lowest, one of the lowest
vibrations.
Right. So you got fear, hatred, shame, guilt.
Mm-hmm.
All of those are really, really low. So here we say that we're these spiritual beings and we're ascending and the planet's ascending. But then if we allow ourselves to stay in these perpetual states of fear for whatever reason, then are we really doing our work? So this is where the audience, you audience as light workers, because you're the ones that are listening to this, just like Cynthia and I are, right? Because we're having this conversation and we know who we're talking to, that it's our job as light workers to look in the mirror and take a deep breath and just say, ooh, I wonder if there's something there that I need to look at. And what does that take? What you just said, Cynthia. Courage.
It's courage.
Yes.
And I think courage it's closely related to self-confidence and having that self-confidence in yourself, and particularly in your own knowing. You know what's best for you. You don't have to listen to the world. You don't have to have other people's opinions always come into what you know. What you know is what you know. And it's that feeling and working from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, courage comes from the heart. It doesn't come from the head so much. Right. I think it's a deep inner knowingness and wisdom. And some say, oh, I could feel it in my gut. I think that's true.
It's an inner strength.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, excuse me, I need to cough.
That's all right. While you're doing that, I just wanted to say that really we need courage to ask ourselves these important questions and really go, the knowing in my gut, where does it come from? And really ask ourselves and look inside and then deeply affirm, who are we? Where are we going? What is it that we really know? What is it that we need to we think we know, but we need to take a look at? And standing really firm in that knowingness once we decide what it is, and understanding that we have a gift from God, our God-given ability to have this courage, to have this strength, to speak our truth, to stand in alignment and connect with that divine source within us.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. So well said.
Oh, thank you.
So what do we need courage for? We need courage for the truth.
Yeah.
And one of our last videos was talking about the year of 2022 and how it would be a great year of the great reveal. And I really think that's coming. And we really need to have courage for all the disclosure that's coming and what we know is happening in the world. What we feel, even if we don't outwardly see the evidence of it, we feel intuitive something big is coming. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to share that this weekend I attended a webinar with Dr. Michael Salla, exopolitics.org, and he gave a wonderful 3+ hour seminar. And in it, he talked about a huge paradigm shift coming. And this huge paradigm shift is all about humanity now seeing evidence of more and more. So let me give you an example. He talked about up until 2010, scientists in astronomy and all over the world kind of had an agreement, sort of a level of consciousness that they could agree on. And that was that, no, there's no life outside the Earth. The Earth is, happening, but there's not really evidence of life outside Earth. Now, in December of 2021, just a couple of months ago, they launched the James Webb Telescope, a new space telescope. Oh. And this telescope is 100 times stronger than Hubble. And what it's designed to do, it's designed to pick up life forms out in the universe.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. It's the first time I'm hearing this.
Mm-hmm. And the it's geared to monitor what's called biosignatures. And those are signatures of life.
Mm-hmm.
And already the graph is like, 2000, 2005, 8, 7, 10, 14, and now 2021, pew, and the graph is straight up. They're finding so many what they call exoplanets. Those are planets outside of our solar system that can support life, just like Earth. And they've been really surprised at what they found already. And it's only been a couple of months. So Stephen Hawking, before he died, there was already work towards this new launch of this new space telescope. But once Hubble was up there, Stephen Hawking said, it is perfectly reasonable to assume there are millions and millions of planets with life on them. So what's happening right now is this is going to come about. We're going to see it. We are entering the Star Trek age. I mean, truly, Rena, it's not just a corny little saying that's kind of cute. It's like, it's really happening. We are really going to enter the Star Trek age. We're going to meet our neighbors. And this is huge. Yep. So Dr. Salla is even predicting that by this summer, we will see evidence of other civilizations, star systems, that this telescope now, because it's so detailed, you can't refute it any longer. Like, it's coming.
That's exciting, really exciting. So in that, do you think that's going to bring up some fear for some people?
I think
not for you and I, not for you and me. Like, we're fine, right? You and I are fine, but and a lot of our audience is going to be fine. But there are some people who would be fearful about that.
Yeah, I think it's going to bring up a lot of fear, and I think people are going to be triggered. They're going to be like, an alien invasion, and they're going to be really scared because it's so outside of their paradigm. It's so outside of their belief system. Well, the church never told me that, or my government hasn't said that yet, so it must not be true.
Yeah.
And so we've got to really expand our courage and really have courage for a new world and all the new truths that are coming about. And it's going to be huge, a huge, huge shift.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit of what we talked about.
That's exciting. I can't wait to hear it myself, but that's, that's why we're creating our community, so that we're putting these things out there. We wanted to be able to talk to the audience and make sure that we reach out and that people know that there's a place where they can come. And we've had our website, right? Because we know that this is important, where we need a place where we can come and discuss these things. We have our Telegram channel and our little Facebook group, and we'll be expanding all of that. But it's really good. I think that as these discoveries happen, if you want to call them that, or these new thoughts that come down and are come into our consciousness, they're going to come a little bit at a time, and then it'll grow and grow and grow, and everyone will react a little bit differently. Some of this stuff is kind of negative that you and I know is coming, and this happens to be one that's super positive, I think. But like we say, everyone is going to react differently coming from the paradigm that they're bringing forward and what their life journey is about. So we're here to support you.
Yeah, and he talked about how Dr. Richard Hoagland, who wrote a wonderful book about the space program, the secret space program, and all that's happening. Mm-hmm. He was just saying that really discoveries kind of come in leaps, and evolution comes in leaps and bounds. It's not, I mean, sure, it goes along for hundreds of years, thousands of years, but when there's a huge paradigm shift, it comes fast.
Yeah.
And it's like,
we can see that in the revolution, the revolutionary age, or when they had all those light bulbs and all that. What do they call that? The modern age.
The industrial revolution. Or yeah. It was like, wow, I can get on a thing that has these steel wheels and it goes choo choo, and I can go across the whole country, not on a horse.
Flying didn't come much later.
Yeah, and then flying, I can fly. Wow. Mm-hmm. So we think these are kind of, oh, it's just a part of our history and stuff. But these spurts of consciousness and awareness come in leaps and bounds. And if you think about it, how old we were when we got our first cell phone. I don't even want to say how old I was. I probably already said at some point, but our kids are growing up with cell phones and instantaneous communication, and you can Google anything, but you and I didn't have that. We didn't.
We certainly didn't.
Remember, we'd pick up the phone and it was attached to the wall, and we had to stand there for like an hour or 2 hours and talk, and we couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
we were just attached to the wall. So science and technology is advancing so quickly now, and we have to be ready for that and having courage for this truth that's coming. And as fear rises in us, it's good to try to step back and look at it objectively, right? Is this real? Is this false evidence appearing real? And then, okay, if it is real in our third dimensional world, how much does it affect me? And how can I overcome that? What are the steps I need to take? And I think listening within is always the answer. Listening with your heart.
That's right, because we can't control what's really happening out there. I mean, when we get really metaphysical, we can in some ways direct things, and then but without doing that, it really does start from within us. And so when things are happening, there is something for us to learn about those. So it is that mirror, like we talked about earlier, that's coming back. And so what we're seeing out there is really a reflection of what's going on in here. And so the idea is that as we clear what's going on in here, then our frequency and our vibration will be at a different level. So then the things we see out there will be different. And vice versa, what I'm learning with this new kind of healing technique that I've been working with is that when I work on helping someone else heal and do a healing on them, I'm realizing that it's really healing that part of me that I'm seeing in them that I'm thinking needs work. So as I'm consciously focusing on healing them, then it's flipping and it's healing that part of me at the same time.
Right.
So how beautiful is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you go back to Dr. Hugh Lin and Ho'oponopono. I mean, just he worked on himself constantly, and he took it so far as to say kind of what you were just saying, that if someone appears in your world, then and they're showing some kind of behavior or attitude or negativity or lower vibration, then that's a reflection of what we have inside of us to heal still.
Right.
So I think that is just so profound when you think about it. It's just amazing how it's all within. So if we can look at fear and sort of examine it with a detachment, an emotional detachment at first, and try to rationalize or try to understand your thoughts, I guess, is this real? What if it's not real? What would I be like right now if this was not a truth? And then have courage to say, I am in charge of my destiny. I am empowered. I am Mother, Father, God. I am all that I am. And I am safe. And just to know that. And to know that and have courage.
And I'm a creator. So
yeah,
this thing that happened with my son the other day, it upset me so much. And then I realized, I heard this little voice that says, Rena, you're a creator. Stop creating this negativity. Turn it around. So then I did one of my little healing techniques, and I saw everything unfolding the way I wanted it to. I saw my son graduating and being happy and being completely healthy and having joyful, happy life. And I was joyful and happy in that moment. So we have that power inside of us to either dive into that fear, whatever it is, and live in that, remembering and knowing that we're creating more of it by doing that, or to do exactly what you said, have the courage to step aside, look at it objectively, and then take the next step and create the exact opposite, create what we want, and focus in our emotional body and focus in that. That's where our power is. Exactly what you just said. Perfect.
So right now, we have the Ukraine-Russia situation going on. And just to end today, one thing that I've noticed is as I've come to be more critical of the mainstream media and realize that what they're portraying isn't necessarily at all what's really happening. And looking at it, is it real? Am I in fear about it? So I'm going to take that and say, there's something bigger going on here. And I don't know what it is exactly, but I'm going to see a positive outcome. I'm going to see the people that are suffering and the women and children that have flown, or fled is the word I was looking for, fled from Ukraine, and they're trying to seek refuge in Poland and other countries, to bless them and pray for them and look at that positively and say, there's something bigger coming here, and to not be gripped with fear. Not be gripped that it's everything's going to turn out horrible. No, but if it isn't what we've been told, what if? I think that's a good thing to do. What if?
And also to remember that our natural state is bliss, love, and joy. That's the state that where our soul wants to live in. So when we need to each find our own way to recognize that when we're feeling anything else, that we take an opportunity to notice it and do whatever is in our toolbox to transmute it. Like I've got all these little tools, and we've shared some on our courses and things, and shared some in our videos, I think. But just breathing and knowing that we are so powerful, and really, you've got this. Like, we've got this. And we are supporting each other in this whole process. And it's all going to be okay. Everything is unfolding the way it's supposed to be. And we, as these powerful light workers, have a lot to do with that as we acknowledge our power and exactly what you said, transmute it and move it forward.
Because I think a lot of courage. It really does. And I think that fear is mostly in the future, don't you? It's like Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. It's like, okay, are you safe right now? Oh, yeah, actually, I am safe.
Right.
Okay. So
except in that example I was saying, where somebody's walking in right now, everything else, this moment right now, I'm talking to you and I'm safe. So no matter what I'm thinking, it's not this moment, because this moment is with you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think go back to that present moment, live in your heart and stay out of fear.
Yeah.
And know that you have the courage. You are very, very powerful. And that's one of the things that we want to convey in our talks, and it's just how powerful each and every one of us are. We really are. And we can manifest a positive world, and we have that power. We will do it. And we are doing it.
We are doing it.
Yes.
And we're creating this community, which I just love. And sorry if I'm reiterating myself, but it being a light worker can feel like you're standing on an island all by yourself. And you and I have both felt that many, many times. We have each other, but when you see another light worker, you're like, yay!
Yay! There's another one.
Now. But I just want to put that out to our audience. Like, we've got your back, and you've got ours. And
we're in this. We are all working together. Yep. So thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. And, remember to go to our Telegram channel, Ascending Community of Light, and our website.
And all the links will be in the description.
Yep.
Yeah. So just look down below.
So take care of yourself and stay in your heart and stay in your courage. And let's not give fear any more power.
Love it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, have a good day, evening, night, whatever you are in the world.
Okay. Good
for
night.
us, right?
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.